Hey, it's B-Rad Celebrity Hairstylist here, your host of the Hairstylist Empowerment Podcast. I want to say thank you for joining us on the Hairstylist Empowerment Podcast. We're currently at 52,000, thanks to you, and on over 40 plus platform podcasts, including Amazon Music and Audible. Today's guest is an incredible one who you may recognize as the star from the current season of The Big Blowout, Dylan. I hope I get your last name, McConnachie. Is that right?
Absolutely, you got it.
Okay, Dylan McConnachie, and he's a finalist in the British Hairdressing Awards Avant Garde Hairdresser of the Year, finalist in the Fellowship Luncheon and Hair Awards Session Hairstylist of the Year Award 2022. His master class, which I think is now sold out in the Art of Avant Garde. He's also has his own place, D.J.M Collective, and he's also the WeLove Art Director, who he has some classes coming up, which are going to be doing live, I believe. So we're going to talk to Dylan now. So I want to say welcome, Dylan. Please introduce yourself to our audience and share a little bit about your background.
Thank you so much for having me, first of all. It's amazing. And I think the opportunities that have been coming recently are just absolutely incredible. So I'm Dylan McConnachie. I'm the creative director for D.J.M Collective. I work for WeLove as one of their art directors. So I basically work on the education and basically the inspiring motivation of the company. I am also, as you mentioned, British Hairdressing Award Avant Garde Hairdresser of the Year finalist. This is my second time. I've been in this industry for, I reckon, like 12 years or so. I've been qualified for about 10 of those years, and I'm only 26. So I've been doing it for a while already. So I've still got a long road to, still got a long road ahead. But my career started in a really great company called Sean Hanna, and I was very lucky to work under the umbrella of Skylar McDonald, who kind of gave me the exposure and knowledge to what was open within the hairdressing industry, specifically in Britain, because I'm based in London, and kind of just went on a bit of a tangent and just kind of saw, what does the industry have to offer and what can I do? So in my first 6 months of actually qualifying, I actually won the Hairdressers Journal Young Hairdresser of the Year, which was pretty amazing. I didn't expect it because I was 17, one of the youngest apparently to ever win it, and they've actually not done the award since. So I basically still hold the title. And then, I kind of delved into photographic work, collection work, stage work. And I think that's really kind of given me a lot of different opportunities and different avenues to take within the industry. And I've been very lucky. I've been a finalist for the fellowship for the Fame team, which has obviously led to Session Stylist of the Year, which is just bonkers. It's crazy. I mean, the list could just go on and on and on and on. But my most recent venture this year, and it has been a very hard secret, I was on the new series of E4's The Big Blowout, which was judged by Sam McKnight and Lisa Farrell and hosted by AJ Adudu. When I initially got asked to be on this show, I kind of didn't really think, will this be a good idea to do? Because are they going to take the mick out of the hair industry? But absolutely not. This is probably been the best opportunity that any of us have done. And there's a few things coming up, which I can't talk about yet, but let's just say 2022 was pretty good. 2023, there's a lot coming. So yeah, it's going to be cool. It's going to be really
even
cool.
better. So now I'm so intrigued. We may have to have you on again. So when you're ready to spill the tea, we'll
absolutely
we'll be there for you. But what was the point? So like me, I started in a salon at 14. I started as a makeup artist before I went into hair. So with that, what was the turning point that you knew you wanted to be in the hair industry?
Well, I think a lot of people that I speak to, it's either hairdressing runs in their family or they're just very, very creative. I mean, you know, I'm a very creative person anyway, but hairdressing is not in my family at all. But once I kind of thought to myself, I mean, I just naturally had a real fascination with hair specifically, because what it has obviously kind of led me to is creating sculptural hair pieces. But hair is a fabric, and it's a material that you can utilize and work with a lot. And I just kind of had a real fascination with it. And I just kind of thought, you know what, let's see what happens. I was very young when I got into the industry. I'm still young now, but I thought, let's just see what happens. And if it goes well, I'll carry on. If it doesn't, I'll go into maybe something of, you know, more of a regular job or something, you know. But I think being a creative person, we kind of have this feeling inside of us where we just need to unleash something. There's something in our minds where we want to create. I mean, I'm a very visual and also hands-on person. So if I'm looking at a piece of material or like an architectural building or something, I instantly like, I want to make that with hair. It's just the fascination of art, but with hair. And I just thought, let's just go into the industry and see. I think I was very lucky because of the salon I was in. They were probably the right people for me. And I actually didn't even know. I just thought it was one of the, you know, it was a great salon where I first started, but I didn't expect it to be the place that would actually set my career off within the first 6 months.
Wow.
So,
yeah, and
I've stayed in it ever since.
Exactly. And that's a thing that a lot of young stylists don't realize when they're first out of school. When I left school, I trained with a world champion for, you know, 2 years with my license. And he said to me, it takes 3 to 5 years even to start to get good. So with the shop I was called, which is what you do now. So the shop I was at was called Avant Garde, which is what we did. We were like the high end, you know, place to go. They were highly into stage competition. We did a lot of runway shows. We did a lot of photography stuff. We did a lot of, you know, so once you learn in that environment, and a lot of people, he would like break you. Most of them end up crying and leaving because he was tough. Because in order, and I was Sassoon trained, that you have to work really hard to get to where you're at. People say, oh, well, and people must say, oh, Dylan, it's so easy for you. You just wake up and you're creative, you know?
Yeah, and this is one of the things, like, you know, don't get me wrong, that there are some days where it is a walk in the park, but the majority of the time, it's really hard. I mean, you know, when we're working on, you know, photographic collections, or even working on something like the Big Blowout, you know, that was very time restricted to what we didn't have a lot of time to prepare things. But, you know, if I shoot collections, you know, there's so many times where the planning will go right and then it won't go right. And, you know, but even when I was training, I mean, Scarlet was based at Sassoon originally as well. So she was very disciplined.
Yes.
I mean, if you did a bad haircut, you know, she would obviously direct you to how to correct it. But if you sucked, she would tell you, but it made you better. And I think what a lot of people in this day and age don't understand when they're coming into the industry is, if you want to be really good at what you do, be prepared to have a bit of brutality happening, because that's the only way you're going to kind of evolve and become better. I would rather people tell me that I'm not doing a very good job at something, because it's going to make me want to do better at it. And that's always been the case. I mean, obviously we'll delve into the Big Blowout, because that was a whole different level of critique. But, you know, it's not a negative comment. It's something that is that, I think at the time when you kind of get something where they're like, look, this isn't really working, you kind of think, oh God, I'm doing badly. This is not going to work, and I just suck. But it's not the case. It's actually something that they're using to make you stronger and better. And I stand by that when I teach people myself. I mean, I'm quite a brutal teacher. You know, if you're doing highlights and you're not doing it correctly, I will get you to wash it, do it again, wash it, do it again. Because until you get it right, you're not going to learn. And you need to learn, but you do need to learn by making mistakes. If you don't make mistakes, you're never going to become, but then also say you're never going to become the best, but you can never be the best. There's no such thing, you know, because the industry is just changing every single day.
Exactly. And I think it's how you discipline, because when I first started out, the nice thing with our boss or manager, they never really degraded you in front of the client and said, hey, this haircut sucks. They would call you to the back and then cuss you out. And then you go back on the floor pretending everything's wonderful, but then you knew how to fix it. And that's the whole point, because a lot of salons, they'll hire stylists, especially new stylists, put them out on the floor, not train them properly, and expect that they're going to know everything because they went to school. Well, school will teach you enough to get your license. But as I say, it does take that 3 to 5 years to start to get good. And if you're lucky, like me, I was probably in a shop of 12 stylists, 14 stylists. I was the only guy. So of course I got very popular very fast. So because of course, if you have a large female clientele or whatever that want a male hairdresser, then of course, hey, you offer that. But I also built up, same in school. I built up very quickly in school, same reason, right? I learned how to give great head massages, stuff like that. So they're like, hey, can you do this? No. And then they just put me out on the floor. So I actually graduated. I think our training here is a little bit different, but I ended up finishing school 2.5 months early and graduated at the top of the class, in the class ahead of mine. Just because I did all the work. I went to all the clinics. I went to all the extra, that sort of thing, but how you do it. And a lot of times too, because I did competition for 8 years, I used to train people to compete, but then they don't really understand why you're being so hard on them. It's not that you're being mean and, oh, well, he doesn't like me. It's not that at all. It's because you can see the potential in them and you want them to be so much better. And so we're going to jump kind of into the big blowout and talk about that, how you kind of got involved. So the winner of the big blowout was Vicky.
Yes.
So what are
Massive
your thoughts on
congratulations
that?
to Vicky. Do you know what? I think what we were all worried about when we first joined the show, because, you got to think, we actually were asked to be on this almost a year ago, and we've had to keep it quiet until it aired in October. But the first thing that kind of played on our minds was, also, we didn't know who was on it. We didn't know who the judges were. We didn't know who the presenter was. We knew who the production company were because they look after the Great British Bake Off, but we didn't know anything else. And no one gave it away. No one gave it away who was going to be on it. And when we all first met each other, we were like, oh my God, a lot of us knew each other really well. I knew Vicky really well. We'd actually done our audition together. But the one thing we're worried about is it going to make the industry look bitchy, or is it going to be a bitchy thing? And it wasn't at all. We are like a little hair family. We have a WhatsApp group. We talk almost every day. We've been to a lot of events recently, so we are seeing each other quite a lot, and it's quite nice actually. I'm so glad Vicky won. I think anyone was so deserving to win. Of course, you enter yourself, you kind of think, I really want to win. But do you know what? And we've all said, even wherever we all made it throughout the competition, we wouldn't change anything about it. It was one of the most amazing. It was hard, but it was the most amazing experience that we've ever been through. And Vicky really, really deserved it. I mean, at the final, she just smashed it, because we actually got invited back for the final episode to just wish them all good luck. And, we were all there, like, good luck, this is amazing. And it's quite hard when there's 3 people left and they're about to announce one winner. But I kind of had Vicky in my mind at the final. But I mean, everybody, everyone's work was so different. I think even on the first day, it could have been anyone's game. Anyone.
Yes. And with that, did you find with the show yourself as a stylist, did you find it pushed you to be more creative and come out of your zone?
Yeah, I think the one thing you've got to think about is definitely it's the time pressures that you're given, to create a masterpiece. You're given 4 hours. You are allowed to create 20% in advance, but that 20% is quite minimal. Obviously you've got your concept, you've got the model, but what model you actually have on the day, you can specify the hair type and the texture and the color, but that's as much as you can do. So it is kind of just working on a blank canvas and just hoping what you've got in mind is actually going to work. Because, when I plan a photo shoot, we plan it months and months and months beforehand. I think it was, it definitely was great for my character building, because I'm normally a very stressy person. I don't work well under pressure. I do now. And I think knowing what you can do in such a short space of time and create it really, really well is amazing. But because how it worked throughout the series is you'd film over 2 days for one episode. So you do a mystery challenge, which that could be anything. That could be wigs, that could be bridal, that could be cutting, that could be coloring, it could be anything. So you didn't know where you were going or what the challenge was until you got there. And at that point, you have 2 hours to do a color. And you're thinking, oh my God, I take 6 hours when I'm in the salon. I'm like, how's that going to happen? But it definitely pushes you. But this is more creative. It's not your salon kind of work that you would see. No. But I think it definitely pushed you to have more creative ideas. I mean, there's some things that I did on the show that I didn't even know I could even do. So it's definitely allowed me to do different things now, because I know I can do them. Now I have a lot longer because I'm obviously not on the show, so it's fine. Can take 9 hours instead of 4 hours. But I think working on a time pressure instantly makes you work differently. The adrenaline rush and everything. And at the time, a lot of people think, oh, you're probably looking at everyone else. You don't have time to look at what anyone else is doing because you got to focus on your piece of work. And then after, when you see everyone, I mean, this is what I loved about it. We all supported each other. We're like, oh my God, that's amazing. Oh, amazing, blah, blah, blah. And that was great because, none of us, we did kind of feel, a bit nervous when the judging was happening with the judges because that was scary. But again, even their critiques, negative or positive, were really beneficial. And one thing that a lot of us keep saying, you would never be able to afford Sam McKnight for 8 weeks, if you were doing a masterclass with him. But it was basically like having an 8-week free masterclass with Sam McKnight and Lisa Farrell. And that's just invaluable. I mean, I'd never be able to afford that myself. It was just one of the best experiences that we've ever done. And if they do a second series, I'd highly recommend anyone to do it. I mean, it was just amazing. What I wouldn't say I struggled when Vicky was announced as the winner. I actually didn't know. No one knew, and I was like, who won? Like, we just want to know. And poor Vicky's had to keep it secret for like 6 months. But I mean, it was amazing, and it's just so great us seeing each other. We do kind of watch the series every now and then again, just to kind of remind ourselves, because I think the first time you watch the episode, because, another thing you got to think of, because it's television, there's so much they film, but don't put in the final edit, because, you've got 2 days worth of filming in a 45-minute episode. So there's only so much you can put in anyway. But when you initially first watch it, you think, oh my God, this is horrific. But then when you watch it again and, maybe watch it a couple of times, you're like, okay, cool. This is actually really good. I honestly, I have nothing bad to say about it. I have no negative. I mean, I wish I was in the final, but apart from that, that's my only negative.
But you never know, if they have another season, they may bring you back, or an all-star season.
Yeah, who knows?
Something like that as well. Do you find that you're more a harsher critic of your own work than the judges actually were?
I think it's quite a natural thing. I'm definitely my own worst critic. I mean, it will take me a couple of weeks to start to like something. But obviously, in that time, you've only got 4 hours to like it, because you've only got 4 hours in between judging and touch-ups. But I think now, because I have proved what I can do in that, in time periods, and I definitely believe in myself more than I probably ever did. And and I've been hairdressing for a long time, and I've won and been nominated for some of the biggest awards in hairdressing. I think one of the pinnacle points this year, which has made me think, what, I can do this, is when I got nominated for the Fellowship Session Stylist of the Year. I laugh about it because it's just so funny. I mean, I'm so proud of it. But I did not expect it. I'm probably one of the youngest people in that category. But what is also quite interesting is you've got myself, so a big blowout contestant. You've got a great guy called Luke Benson, who's an amazing session stylist, and you've also got Lisa Farrell, who was the judge on the big blowout.
Yes.
So it's so funny. I mean, I'm so proud of it, and if I was to win it, I mean, that'd be amazing. But to be up against Lisa, who was the judge, I mean, that definitely rings lots of you can do this, and you are good, and this year has definitely proved to me it's time to start believing, because I am good. I wouldn't be on the TV show if I wasn't. I wouldn't be nominated for the British Hair Awards or Session Stylist if I wasn't. So it has definitely made me think I am good. I need to stop being negative about my own work, because it is good. But again, you're your own worst critic anyway, and you're always going to be. But it's made me more proud and just kind of think, you know what? I can do this. But the most important thing for me, and I always kind of take this back from anything, is if my work inspires other people, that is probably the most important part for me.
Exactly. And as I say, like you, and with being I was a television host for 3 years, never watched any of my shows. But then again, I was at my mom's place. They had a 24-hour marathon of me. She was like, "You're on TV," because I just kind of did it. I didn't really same. You don't really say anything because you pre-record your stuff, and so I know all about that industry. And then you kind of get, and you have your guests on, you have I believe you had Chris Appleton. Was he on the big blowout?
I was so gutted I wasn't there. That would have been amazing. Oh God, it was so jealous.
When you're seeing some of these legends like right in front of you that have so-called made it. But the thing is, it's always nice when, a lot of times, to find out about myself, I have to Google myself. I don't really do it a lot, but it's like, you've won this, you're in the top thing for that, you're in the, even the podcast and that sort of thing. It's just, I think we're similar. Yes, we have this long list and we're young coming in the industry, but you know what I mean? You know how to stay humble, which I think that's the biggest thing. As soon as you start saying, "Hey, I did this, I'm doing this class, I'm doing this, I'm wonderful, I'm amazing." I think we all should say we are amazing, but to the point that it, like you said, it benefits others. And your experience on the show wasn't like a pre-scripted, we need some drama, now you got to hate Vicky because she did this and blah, blah, blah. And then you on the cutting room floor, you never know what they're going to show. So
exactly.
And for ratings and stuff like that. But I kind of want to talk about your upcoming class, which I don't think you can get tickets for anymore, but it's your avant-garde class. So what's all that about, and how did you want to kind of specialize in avant-garde hair as opposed to just teaching a cutting class?
Yeah, I mean, avant-garde it's my forte. It's something that I have a strong passion for it. I love just creating art with hair, basically. And it's kind of led me to do different things. And in the industry, I've been very successful when it's come to avant-garde work. I mean, I've been in the alternative hair show 5 times now, which is crazy. And obviously the British Hair Awards. And I think avant-garde, it can take you to so many different places, and what you can do with hair is just ridiculous, because there's the techniques you can use is insane. And I educate quite a lot anyway. I do a lot of color classes and avant-garde, but I kind of wanted to change up the avant-garde one slightly, because a lot of people have said to me since the show's been out, how have you created that? Because you got to think, you don't actually see the whole process of how I make everything, because there's so many of us to begin with. So I thought it was a good decision this year for next year to do a masterclass on me actually showing you how I did everything step by step. And there'll only be 3 pieces, because it's a lot to go through in one day as well. So it'll be 3 of the pieces I created on the big blowout, and then they'll be creating it themselves as well. So they're just basically getting to learn different techniques, which will include like hair sheet making, braiding, sculpting. I mean, when you actually do the techniques, I make it look difficult, but it's then actually quite easy. A lot of the people who've done my masterclasses before have actually been really surprised, like, wow, once you actually do it, it's actually not as difficult as it looks when you're doing it. So yeah, and it is the tickets have sold out online, but if people do still want to book, you just have to get into contact me. I think I realistically can only have 3 more people on the masterclass, and that's on the 22nd of January in London. But it's a hands-on experience, and it's a smaller class because there is a lot to go through. But I basically just simplify avant-garde creation. And it is a successful masterclass. I mean, but it is also going to be my last masterclass for a while.
Oh, wow.
Because next year is busy. It'll come back. It'll probably come back in 2024 or the end of 2023. But next year, there's a lot going on, because I'm hopefully going to be working with a PR company who we're going to work very closely with, and hopefully some big opportunities are coming next year. And so just kind of taking a bit of a pause on the education side. I mean, I love all things education. Education is and always will be the key to success, no matter how good or how, or how not good you are. Education is so important. But the one thing, I just kind of have to take a bit of a break on certain things next year, because there's a lot going on next year, and we've got some really big photo shoots planned already.
Amazing.
So a lot of my time has to go into that, because they are going to be hopefully amazing collections.
Yeah. So one idea with the masterclass, I know you're doing it live, but what if you had a pre-recorded version that was digital, the virtual, that people could purchase 24/7?
Yeah, it's definitely something that we have thought about, because we obviously, in the lockdowns back in 2020 and 2021, hairdressers just wanted to educate themselves, which was amazing. That was great. I went on education, I taught education. I thought, I've got something to give, why not? And I was doing it, for a cheaper price, because you'd have like 100 people on the Zoom call watching you do coloring, thinking, do not mess this up. So it's definitely something that a photographer I spoke to did say, why don't we actually record a masterclass that is on for maybe like an hour and a half maximum?
Exactly. Or just a specific, or working with crepe hair, or working with, just extensions, or because a lot of times people see the shows, they've got this big headwear on there, but they think, oh, it must be so heavy, but it's like chicken coop wire and paper mache and
exactly. So it's definitely something that we have spoken about, I think, because the next, so I work in a co-working space. So I run my business in a co-working space. So the next step is to open up my own studio. When that is, I'm not sure. I really want to do it soon, but definitely want to work on more education with doing video work, because I think it's just something that is more accessible to everybody, because a lot of people can't always travel down to London. So it's definitely something that we are thinking about. It's just time at the moment. I mean, in 2024 we haven't got any plans yet. 2023 there's a lot,
but who knows,
already.
A lot of stuff can happen overnight, where you think
2024
and then it works out totally differently. But speaking of education, global education, you're WeLove's art director, and you have some classes coming up. So those are going to be live. Are those on Facebook and Instagram?
So I think we're doing it on Instagram.
Okay.
So I'll be going live with Heather, who's one of the directors there as well.
Yeah, Heather's on our cruise, which I'll talk about.
Amazing. She's fantastic. So we will be, I think we'll be going live on Friday. I actually have been prepping some of the looks in advance. Because these doll heads need a lot of work. So the lives will be happening on this Friday at 7:30 p.m. and then the following Monday at 7:30 p.m. as well. And the first one is going to be scalp lightener. So we're just kind of preparing that in advance now. So there's going to be a video going out on Friday morning, just kind of a quick demonstration, like, this is what I'm doing. See you at 7:30. And then on the And then on the Monday, that'll be Air Touch Balayage, which is something I specialize in. So we'll also be doing that as well, which will be fantastic. Perfect. And I'm really excited because I have done quite a couple of things with WeLove already, but this is also working with the Carlo Oliveri products, which I'm one of the ambassadors for.
Yes.
So just kind of really simplifying the techniques, but also showing something commercial but relatively creative as well. So you're not just seeing your basic highlights or placement techniques. You're seeing a scalp lightener. So what we've done is I've actually taken the doll heads to a much darker base because I like a bit of a challenge. So just and they'll be really good. They'll be really good, and I think the engagement will be fantastic because we had a WeLove International Day back in September. And that was fantastic. And, we've got some great things coming from that. So I'm excited for people to see. And I'm excited for the lives this Friday and Monday. So that's Friday the 18th and then Monday the 21st of November at 7:30.
And that's on the WeLove Instagram.
Yes. So it'll be the WeLove Instagram, and then I'll just be joining on my own Instagram. So
perfect. That's gonna be amazing. So the one thing that I'm doing, which we're gonna talk about, and Heather Robertson, I don't know, I'm getting on last names, it's not so good. But Heather will be joining us along with a lot of other A-list celebrity artists. So if you want to join us on the Mayan Sol Beauty Industry Cruise, May 7th to 12th, 2023, you can learn and have fun with A-list celebrity beauty industry professionals on Sir Richard Branson's super yacht, Scarlet Lady. Tickets are available now, www.beautyindustrycruises.com. We hope to see everybody there. As we kind of wrap up, Dylan, in our last just about 4 minutes. We're gonna take it to the limit. I love everything that Ray and everybody is doing there.
It's just amazing
with they're doing their because Heather, she actually just did their big WeLove conference thing. She was on stage for like 8 hours straight, and then she'll be coming on showing her extreme bridal techniques on the ship as well. It's going to be an amazing time. But as we kind of wrap up, what's a nugget of gold that you would leave for our audience?
I think just, learn as much as you can. And I mean, I say to people, spend a lot of time assisting, because assisting can get you to so many different places and it can lead so many opportunities. I think take any opportunity that comes your way and just learn as much as you can. Everything is about education. If you want to be the best of the best, you have to educate yourself as much as possible. You're never too young or too old to know more. The world and industry is changing constantly. So my best advice is just learn as much as you can. Yeah, and also follow Dylan McConnachie for any updates as well.
Exactly, and that's what we're going to ask. So with your handles, where can they find you? Can they find you on Facebook, Instagram, a website? If you want to drop those, and we'll also put them in the once this airs, we'll have all your stuff listed as well.
Amazing. So the best one to find me is definitely, because I use it more, is Instagram. So that is at dylan.official_hairstylist. So you can find me there. And, feel free to send me messages. I respond to everybody. I love getting in touch with people. Just let's share and spread some love of hair.
That's right. Thank you so much, Dylan, for joining us on the Hairstylist Empowerment Podcast. And we'll see everybody next time.
Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.